Morning, y'all. Welcome on this rainy Sunday morning in Belgium and Leuven, where I'll continue to move from my anemic domain model to an hexagonal architecture with CQRS. So last time what we did was we completely changed all of our repository calls into queries, and then we started moving the business logic to commands. Business logic, the things you can do on my domain. We moved it to commands, but we started doing that, and we're somewhere in this competition controller. Don't really remember all that well where we did end up. Right, so let's just find out, shall we? So we've got some other introduction stuff. I've got two FET backends right now. The current one is, that's in quote-unquote production, is this one, the CQRS one. So just to prove that I can actually gradually modify that stuff. So there's that. And then we were in our competition controller. Competition controller. This one. And we can see that we already started doing some stuff like starting a competition. So currently the approach is just move the stuff that's in here into a command handler, basically. And then once we've got that, then we can actually start properly handling those commands. So it's really a basic refactoring thing that we're doing currently. Yeah. So let me also get Nightbot playing along. There we go. Okay, let's see. Right. So next thing is this thing, the unstart competition, where we really just want to do both of these things in a similar fashion to this. And I think our approach last time also was to first start checking out the tests. So these are all of the tests that deal with unstarting a competition. I really couldn't find a proper name there because unstart is not an actual verb, of course, that I know of. I'm not really sure. Let's see. So we've got a Thundercats competition here. And instead of we did this when thing by replacing that one function call to executing a query. But so what we want to do now is just only start or only verify that that command was called. So what do I want to do instead of doing this? The only thing I wanted to do was that's basically this thing then, right? Sort of like this. That's basically what I'm looking for now. Right. And then instead of start, it should do unstart a competition. It's something that doesn't exist just yet. That, at least I don't think so. Yeah, okay, let's go. So this Okay. I'm not sure if I can actually do this. Since I mock it, there's not going to be something to verify. It's just to verify that its returns is accepted, and then that's that. This stuff we'll need to make sure though that we move that to our scenario test. Yeah, okay. So our unstart competition, let's start creating that by just going, okay, right. Let's call it unstart competition. Same here. Looks like this. There we go. And now we'll need a handler for that. Unstart competition handler. And it should get triggered. Let me just shorten this a bit, or okay. All right. Same here. And then all of this, yeah, so this is now duplication. And then all of this I don't want implemented yet. It should be called unstart for sure. And then we can create a how do you do that to do thing from Kotlin again? No. When you generate a function. Oh, okay. So it's in between braces. Nice. Now, I came from here. That means this thing now should exist. Aha. I do want a type alias, thank you. Import. All right, there we go. Now, this is probably going to fail. It definitely should fail, because I haven't touched my code yet. Christ. Computer is having a hard time running this, apparently. All right, we do have a failing test. Why is that? Ooh. Competition was not, yeah, okay, because, yeah, okay, that's not really representative of the thing I wanted to do, of course. So what I want to do here is just go like command executor, execute unstart competition. This is the one with the competition ID of competition ID. There we go. And then just return accepted. So sadly we couldn't see it fail for the wrong reason. In theory I did something wrong with the refactoring. Now it's still failing though, and why is that? There was another test, should return 404, so this thing we can delete because it'll be moved to the handler. I think that our approach last time was also if we're moving that unstart logic from the controller to this command handler, then we should probably move these tests as well from the controller test to the command handler test. So let's do that right now. When no competition. I forgot what the actual name was, but that's basically the gist of it. And then we'll need our handler. So that is a private late init unstart competition handler. You can see that I've been writing some Java lately. And then this thing is going to have something injected, which is a mock for a I forgot already what it was. Maybe we can just generate it instead. That's smarter anyway. Let's do a before, so setup. So handler equals a unstart competition handler thing, and it needs a query executor and a competition repository. Now let's generate these. So late init var this thing exactly, and then we'll mock this, and then we'll also create this one. Noise. All right, now we'll need extend with Mockito extension. And now we've got our handler set up, and then we can call handler.handle a new unstart competition command, which has a competition ID of I don't know, some competition ID. Let's call it Spiel 2019, which is next weekend, and we've got a competition going actually. I mean set up, just to make sure that we can test stuff. Okay, so this handle should return a competition, and that competition should be nothing actually, because our test says that we need to throw something when it's not found. So Spiel wouldn't or shouldn't be found, so let's set that up. So when our query executors execute has been called with find competition, the alias with the actual competition ID. That means I can extract this. Let's inline this. Let's then say competition ID. Competition ID. Then return absolutely nothing. There we go. And then this should fail, so let's do assert that exception of type there we go, of type, and then I forget something like entity not found, exception, domain. Here we go. And then is thrown by this piece of code. There we go. With message. Couldn't find competition Spiel 2019, something like that is my guess. Now I did say that we should get that information from here. But we only get a 404 and not a message validation. So maybe we should add that to our handler then. Because this is a general exception. Oh, maybe I do have... No. I was thinking maybe I have... I wrote some specific blah not found. But I did not, so maybe let's check out what I had in my controller. Well, maybe just run it first. It's very difficult, I think, to unit test this one by one. Why is that? I guess it's because the tests... Okay. Okay then. So this is already working. That means I already had the query executor thing going, or as an implementation in the command handler. Yeah. And indeed, that's the thing we already had there. So let's now move the rest of the controller tests. So this one I've got handled. Then should return 202 when competition was not started. So basically, don't fail when it already was started. That's the thing that this test is saying. So why don't we go here and then say new test when competition was already not started, don't throw. What does that look like? Let's set up the same thing. Then we need to return a default competition. Default. There we go. And then maybe just make it explicit that it's not started. So started equals false. There we go. Unstarted competition. That may be also for... I don't really need to do this, but just so that it's a little bit more clear or representative of an actual thing. We'll do another unstart competition command towards this competition ID. Then this will have an actual result, actual, and then we can assert that any one of these, I guess. It shouldn't really matter, in fact. There we go. Assert that actual is in fact completely equal to this unstarted competition. Because I don't want anything changed. So if I run this, it should fail because there's a to-do there. Or at least I hope that's where we get. Yep, okay. And then I think we can, so maybe let's also write the other one, and then we can completely move the implementation from the controller to the handler. So when competition was started, then unstart it. Okay, so here we've got default. I think we've got one for that. Started competition with this thing. So this is the started competition, and then we should just verify that actuals started is false. I mean, if I run this again now, then nothing's going to happen. Okay, so right here we already moved that. So what we should do here is do this. Competition repository.save. Let's move back to the handler. And then that's that. And then what we don't have is our So let's do that. Okay. Now what I also want to do is verify that this save has been called. So this should already work, I think. Hang on. Yeah, because just calling unstart doesn't do anything really. Oh. Right. So what happened here is the thing that we had the other week. Since I didn't mock my competition repository.save call, and this unstart competition function is expecting an actual non-null competition to be returned, my mock is returning null anyway. Well, I don't even have a mock setup. It's just a thing I was wondering about. Ah, I do. Okay. So then null is returned, and then Kotlin is complaining. So that's good. Good. That means when competition was not already started, don't throw. So we'll also need to when competition repository dot save with, I guess, any competition class, then return saved competition or something. Competition drink. This is another one like this, I guess. So what we should do, I guess, is this any replace it with either, yeah, I mean, if we want to make sure that nothing was touched or that it was kept to be unstarted, then we should verify that this isn't a competition captor or something. Captor. This is a well, no, it's an argument captor. of a competition. And it's also late in it. And then we'll need to capture this. And then we can say just return a saved competition. But yeah, what we can do here is just return unstarted competition, I guess. The other thing we could do is verify that save wasn't even called. But yeah, I don't really care. Do I? I don't. Let's do competition capture dot value, assign it to something. So this was the competition that was supposedly saved. And then we can assert that this competition started wasn't touched, so is false. And we can do the same here. Because this will say a little bit more than just saving it. Let's call it saved competition. And I hate these kinds of tests because you're not testing the actual result anymore. You're just making sure that whatever was passed to the save function was indeed a competition that was not started. Let's inline this. Let's do the same here. Yuck. It feels like I did a better job last time doing this. Let's check out our start competition handler. After this is green. Yeah, and then this equality check. It should be this one. So maybe we can do that here as well. So then we verify that the thing that's returned from the handler, from the handle function, is the thing that was returned from the competition repository save call. And this is a bit confusing because it was started before, and then here my setup is the thing that I returned was is a started competition. So actual is a started competition, but the thing that I sent to my competitions save was a non-started competition. God, this is horrible. Horrible looking code. There you go. So whether or not I did that, it doesn't make any difference. By the way, if you have any questions at all, feel free to post them in the chat, and I'll make sure to reply to them whenever I get the chance. There we go. Where are we at? Right, I was gonna check out how I did that with start competition handler. I apparently ended up using a captor here as well. Yeah, and I had this convention that I started last time. So let's do that as well. That's basically all of these functions. Handle. Competition found, not yet started, should start a competition. Aha. Here I did make the optimization. Okay, let's make that consistent then. So, oh, and just return competition. Here, when competition was found and started, then unstarted should unstarted should just return competition. This is fine. Okay, so when it was already started, just return the competition. Then we can make sure that after this call has been done, we can verify that competition repositories save with a any competition. This thing was never called. There we go. And now, no, this is correct. No, it's not correct. So this never should end up here. Then this thing shouldn't even be there. And then this. I don't even... Do we need this? Yeah, we need one that is already unstarted. So that it's equal by reference. There we go. And then that should fail now because we are indeed calling it. And then what did I do with the regular save call? I wonder. Yikes. Some issue here. Here we should start a competition. We have a saved competition. We don't even verify the actual result here, even though that's the thing that we're returning. Okay then. Now what's going on? Our unstart competition handler itself is not doing the optimization thing yet. So here we can say if competition dot started is false, then just return competition, and then otherwise do this. Oh, maybe we'll need an else here. And then we can replace it with a return. There you go. Run the tests again and then make sure that it works, and then we'll need some way to extract this into some logic somewhere, because it's a find competition or throw thing. What we're first going to do is make sure that all of the tests are working, including our scenario tests. That should also check, well, basically that the unstart is still working as well. Now I'm wondering if I have such a scenario test. Let's verify that. Scenario tests. I don't have it explicitly for sure. Maybe it's in here somewhere. Or it should be in completing challenges, because here, before you can complete challenges, a competition needs to be started. So what I think I'll do is I'll add some tests here and then maybe make these like the competition scenarios or something, and then these the challenges scenarios. That seems to make a little bit more sense. Not yet started. Yeah, let's... We don't have any happy paths here either. Like, my scenarios aren't fine-grained. But creating a new competition... Maybe they should be visible here. Start. So we'll need an unstart as well. There we go. And then we can use that somewhere. I'm still wondering whether or not I should add it to some of these existing scenario tests. Let's just try and unstart it or something. Competition can be unstarted after it was started. Maybe that'll be fine. So here we've got a create new competition, and then we can do scenarios start competition, And then we can do unstart competition. Except this is with the ID instead of the actual competition. And that's a create competition. Okay. What is coming out of this create competition? There we go. There we go. Competition ID. Okay. And then this thing should just work. Maybe what we should have done is that challenges can get added to an unstarted competition or something like that. That should be making a little bit more sense. Should be able to get added to an unstarted competition. So maybe something like this. Yeah. Okay, let's do it like this. Was unstarted. There we go. And then we'll do this. It's not easy looking for so what we'll do here is we'll start that competition and then we'll unstart it. Because this is basically the undo button, clicking the undo button. Okay, and then this should work as well, I hope. And bad request. Yeah, that's probably because this competition doesn't have any competitors yet. Yep. Where did I add that? So it's probably in the add challenges part. So that's just in the other tests in the completing challenges scenario. Yeah, so let's just do this. Just add a snarf. I also haven't been properly writing my test code because there's a bunch of duplication here. Look, for example, this. Okay, anyway, let's commit this. So what did I do here? This deployment, I don't want to include it. Alright, I did fix a little more, start fixing a bug. Which is a bit funny. I'll tell you about this just after I enter this commit message saying added the, or well, actually moved unstart competition logic to unstart competition command handler. And I think I am on the master branch, not really sure. Has problems. All right, let's get rid of it. There we go. Let's push this. Yeah, I was a monster. So the thing I noticed, so let me show you. It'll be a little bit better. So next weekend, a bunch of our friends and myself are going to Spiel in Essen. It's a huge board games conference, basically, where you can try out demos of new games, buy games at a discount, stuff like that, but also just have a great time there. And well, I thought maybe it's a good opportunity to try out the Effet Challenge application. So what we did was we added a bunch of challenges here. And the first challenge that I added was, which one was it? I think it's this one. There aren't trolls in war games, prove me wrong. And I added this text in the challenge. So I was like, okay, typey. And I pressed save, and all of a sudden, oops, an error occurred. And I was like, wait, what? How is this possible? And the reason that it's possible is because, of course, because of that. So if you do save, something went wrong. I was like, no, how can this be? That was before I had this counter here. So, I mean, it was so silly. And then I thought back, I think I remember even saying to myself or on stream, who is ever going to enter a description that's over 255 characters long? So it appears to be me. Yeah, anyway. So I sort of started fixing that as well in this bug here. Let's make it a little bit bigger. Right, so where are we at? We could do some refactoring now. But I'd rather just get some more commands in, actually. So I need to stop streaming in about 45 minutes. So let's make the most of it, shall we? Controller. This is the one. We were at the unstart competition. So this has been donesies. Then we'll need add challenges, add competitor, remove competitor, complete challenge. Still a bunch of stuff to do, actually. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 5 more. 5 more of moving these. Oh, and maybe that we should start doing now is this find competition or throw thing. Like, where do I want to put that? I was thinking Hey, thank you for following, Gastrohan. Where should I put this? So the thing I was thinking about is that since all of these commands are related to a competition aggregate, maybe I can move this onto a competition command handler type or something. What should I do with this? Let me move the desk up so that I can use it as a standing desk. For this last 45 minutes. There you go. This is a bit better. Right. How the hell am I going to do that? Because I don't want to introduce like an abstract command handler thing. Or do I? Or do I? Dang it. So basically what I'm thinking is maybe I should do this. Okay, let's find out if I can do that, make that thing happen. Competition command handler, and it extends a regular command handler, which has a return type of competition, and then has a continuation of the command handler stuff. So it's something like this. And then we'll only need a queue. You can't. Yeah, okay, so it should not be just like that, and then I can add that find thing, but then that means that this competition command handler needs a no type argument. Oh, that's impossible. Oh yeah, so this needs to be something like this. Addition. And then this can be Q. And then this should work though. Okay, has a constructor of this. So query executor. go. Huh. There's a bunch of stuff going wrong. Yikes. Uptime. It's I don't remember how long have I been streaming? 58 minutes. Type argument must be before constructor arguments. Type argument. This thing. Ah, yeah. Cheers. Cheers, Noob Cybot. That was toasty. There we go. And then now we can move this find competition or throw thing up. Yeah, no, let's do this. And then we can move it to here. And then no longer make it private. There we go. Now I was wondering, because I'm not sure if so this I don't want, so that should be internal, I think, or like protected. That's a thing. Okay, nice. And then what? Well, then all of my tests should still work. But then I did add it to an abstract class, and I'm not sure how I feel about that. The other thing I was thinking, and maybe I can move it to some kind of repository, but then what's the purpose of these query executors? I sort of missed the... I need some kind of, yeah, how do you call that? Like a service layer that does this. Because right now, I just make the assumption that this is something that I only want to do in queries or in commands, but really it should just belong to the query handler, actually. Yeah. Like if you try to do this and it doesn't exist, then maybe I can have like a maybe find competition query that just returns an optional competition or something. So this already returns an optional competition. So what I could do, that might be even better. Like change this find competition to this, and then when you can't find it, then you just return an exception. That seems a bit more logical, I think. And then have like a maybe find competition where you do get an optional competition returned, and then you can decide how do you deal with that. Kind of like that even better then. Yeah, let's revert this shit. Okay. Goodbye. So, who uses this one? Right. Who uses this one? or throw. Here are the handlers. Or throw. Or throw. And here we do something differently. Okay. So it's just in the create competition handler that we want like a maybe type. So here we should transform this into a maybe find competition. And then the others can be just a find competition. Here's one more. No, this is just a handler. Okay, fine. Okay, let's try to do that. So here in this create competition handler, let's do a maybe find competition query. And then we'll go to our competition queries and then add a maybe find competition that in fact does this, and then we can get rid of that one. And then how this will work is, well, in fact it won't, because there's no handler registered yet. Oh man, that's cool, because then I can just move or get rid of a bunch of throws code. Oh my god. Okay, maybe find competition is find, and then all of those places that use just find competition will keep on working, and then this one will do a translation, so that's okay. But then we'll need to change this handler test because it no longer does find competition. It should always do maybe find competition. All right, and then these tests should still work. It takes a long time to run. Alrighty, so that's good. And then what can I do? I can go to all of these users and then start getting rid of this. Because then this should just move to the handler itself. So let's get rid of, well, maybe not get rid, because it's just always returns left operand. So it will keep on compiling. So what I'll do next is go to this one's handler test, and then no competition found should throw exception. And then what do we do? Assert that exception of type entity not found, domain blah blah blah, when is thrown by, sorry, and then has or with message. Thundercats. This is the thing that is going to break. Opa! And then this should fail, I think, because I haven't updated my handler yet. Yay. So let's go to the handler. And then move that throwing code, this thing. Let's just cut it out of there. And then put it there. Oh. Query.id. Oh, and then this should return a competition, huh? It's kind of weird how this compiles though. Okay. And then this should be returning this. But hang on. Once we do that, then everything will start failing. So let's rerun this again, just to make sure that our message is correct. Nice. So let's see if everything compiles, and it should. And then we'll just make it not compile and then fix all of the compilation errors. Okay, cool. Does seem to compile. Now it should stop compiling. That's weird. Ja, nee. I still think it's very strange because my query here now says that it has to return a competition. So yeah, it will still okay, so this is unnecessary. Well, what I already removed that. But so here, let's go start here, and then this needs to remain there. This thing that we just wrote, and then get query stuff doesn't matter here, or throw doesn't throw anymore. So this should be find competition. The other thing I could have done was make this say find competition or throw, but don't want to do that. Okay, so that was the unstart. Then we'll do the start and then get rid of that as well. Same here. Let's just rename it find competition. And then the controller we already modified as well. Okay, so now let's do the tests that we set up, because this thing we always set it up just to return an expected or not. Sometimes it might be null, apparently. Let's see if we do this, if it breaks stuff. Guess it does not. Okay. What about our start competition command handler? So this test we just completely can get rid of now, because we just make use of the proper query. So we don't need to do this. Right. Make use of the type system, yo. And same for here. where we no competition found, throw not found, get rid of that. Because we moved that to the query handler. Okie dokie. And then what's all this? This needs to be there. We moved this, or got rid of that, And then here it wasn't used either. Okay, cool. So that means that if we just were to, some tests are failing. So there's something that was, allez, late compilation. Should return 404 when no competition found for given competition ID. Yeah, so since that is gone now, it's impossible to test that on the controller. I am still wondering. Because I think, didn't I get rid of all of the find competition or throw things? Ooh, apparently I did not. Ah, nee, hang on. This or throw also should be gone. Because it'll just throw. And then we can just remove this test. That's nice. Same. Same. And same. Oof, that's some cleanup, huh? At least I don't think I'm missing something. What do you people think? Am I missing something here? So I ended up removing that code that says, hey, if you couldn't find anything for the ID that was entered, just remove it. I mean, just return a 404. That code is now sort of untested. Well, it's untested on the controller level, but it is tested in the query itself, and then also tested in the, what's it called again? The exception mapper, basically. Okay, now we, right, I need to write the maybe find. Maybe find competition. Now also needs a handler. Which shouldn't return or throw an exception, but really should just return this. And then this can be maybe find competition, which will return or possibly return a competition. Then let's unit test this one, but it's going to look quite a lot like this one. So let's go back in here, go to the test, copy the test. Okay, then let's just call it this, because I'm going to try and do a little trick. I'm going to rename the, well, actually I'm going to revert this thing. Maybe I should just revert it like so. And then rename this to the maybe, because that was the original thing. Huh? Maybe find competition handler. Same. Maybe competition, there we go. And then this one is in fact the find competition handler test, which does throw the exception. Okay. The thing I might have forgotten, no, because I copy pasted it like a boss, is, I was gonna say is the component, the add component, but since I copy pasted, everything is still there. So when I was explaining what I might be missing is like still something that says on the REST API level that whenever you try to find something that couldn't be found, then it should return a 404. And yeah, I don't really know how to deal with that because it's sort of like a feature that I'm missing now, huh? What is going on? We've got a 400 here. So these are scenario tests. That's very odd, I think. Here we've got a null pointer even. Should return 404 when no competition was found. This is a unit test, so maybe let's fix this one first. This should just go because we can't set it up to return null anymore. Oh, actually it's even using the competition repository mock, which I'm not using for finding anything anymore. So this should really just go. It's a bit weird that this was still there. So let's try and find out what was going on here. So API competition, then comp ID complete challenge. That's this one. So we do find competition, which just does a query executor thing. Yeah. So that was something that we missed last time because I think it just happened to work because we didn't mock our query executor there. So by default you get returned null, but in this case, this is now returning null in fact, and not, as you can see, or throw. So the throw doesn't happen, and therefore the 404 mapping doesn't happen either. That's something that I could do. So instead of doing this, so just should return 404 when no competition was found, I could just make the query executors execute some query, throw the exception, like set it up like that, but then I don't want to do that. It's such a hassle. Okay, so that should fix that one, but then there's still this one to be fixed. I fixed it by deleting the code. Can get updated when a competition is not yet started, and what we're getting is a failed assertion because I expected a 201, but there was a bad request, and this is the bad request cause. There's already a competition that has a generated competition ID of competition W challenges. So this one already exists, but at which point? Okay. That seems a bit scary. And it might be... If it doesn't fail now... Rerun the tests. It might be a random failing test. And then that means that we've got flaky tests. Whew. Thankfully it failed again. But why now though? It seems odd. I think we've actually always had that happen, because you've got 2 competition with challenges. Ah, okay. What I think happened was before in our previous commit, actually, when we did the unstarted thing, we just copied this one and did not change this name. And then we only ran this test. So we've only verified that this runs, and it sure does, but it's, I mean, I think I've already assumed that all of these scenario tests can be run independently of each other. So what I need is create a competition with challenges. Challenges can get updated when a competition was unstarted. So maybe let's call this an unstarted competition with challenges. And then this should fix it all. Dang it. Oh, dang it. I'm missing this word count there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, nice. Such an arbitrary amount at 25 character length. I don't even remember why I chose that. Might be because it wouldn't fit on the screen properly otherwise or something. Is it now running all of the tests? Okay. And ta-da! Alright, let's run all of the tests again. And then make a little commit. I think I still prefer the maybe find competition over like an abstract competition command handler that had the find or throw logic. Yay. Okay, so what we did now was before we do anything, let's get rid of this deployment, and then made finding wanting to find an exact competition and maybe finding one explicit. Shit. And then maybe also the Y. I kind of want a little bit more room to write this. Okay, there we go. There was some duplicate code in find or throw that I first tried to extract into an abstract competition command handler. But then it occurred to me that it might be more explicit if I put it in the query type. Maybe find competition and find competition. So now the convention is if you try to execute a query that expects a non-optional type, e.g. competition, and it couldn't be found, the query handler is supposed to throw an entity not found domain runtime exception. I hate this name. If it is a non-optional type, e.g. competition question mark, then the convention is the query handler is supposed to not throw that exception and instead just return the optional result. There we have it. All right, and then let's also put this into the captain's log, actually. Let's make a little commit first and then amend my commit when after I updated the captain's log. I have no idea. The 20th, Jesus. Convention. Non-optional query types should throw entity not found exceptions. Yeah, I mean, let's just one line this. Oh, this should be then instead of then. Then should be an E. Okay, let's add that to the commit as well. And then we can change the typo again. There we go. Let's push this. There we go. And then let's find out what the deployment says, because I'm sick and tired of not changing this. Ah, yeah, right. So I had to change this to to redeploy basically. So let's actually do that again. So let's do stage 3. Just it's a yeah. This is a little annoying thingy. But I've got a change for this. So let's try doing this again. Go to Gradle with a G. Yeah, Gradle. Let's do copy web application jar, which is going to build my CQRS backend, package it into, well, actually, now I'm unsure if it's also going to first rebuild the UI. It doesn't really need to. I hate that I can't see what it's doing now. Okay, so it is building the UI as well again, so that's good. So now it's building the UI, so that's this part here. Let's show you this part. So it's rebuilding my Vue.js and repackaging it into a dist folder. Then this dist folder is going to get copied. Is it going to get copied? Yeah, I think the place where it copies the part is maybe here. Not even. Then I hope it's here. Because I might not be updating the UI even, but okay, here we go. So process resources. So before building my CQRS backend step, this is going to get built, and then it's going to get copied into the static folder. So I think it should be here. Classes, main. No. That might be in lib. No, I forget. Resources, main static. So here, all of the build, so the dist folder is going to get copied in there. Then build jar will package basically the CQRS backend alongside with the UI. We'll package it into a jar that is located here, or going to be located there. And then once that is done, that jar is going to get copied over here. And once that happens, then we can build our Docker file again, push it to the registry, and redeploy our app. And that's why I needed that deployment, because otherwise Kubernetes won't pick up the change. Now I have an issue for that to fix it properly. Okay, so if I go to no, that won't show it. So if I go to ops web app, it'll show that the CQRS app just got built. So I'll docker build with 3 then, and then apparently I need to be in the web app. There we go. So we'll build our Docker file, then we'll push to the Docker registry. This one. And then I can redeploy by applying that deployment again using kubectl. And we did change that to 3. Yep. Okay. And then we can follow along with K9s. Here it's already terminated and running, and let's check the logs. There we go, and it's started already. God. This stuff is so cool. I mean, how fast did I just redeploy? I mean, if you think about that. And this should still be working. Yay! Alrighty. I command W'd out of that window. Okay, that's why. Let's commit this as well, and then just say redeployed our recently moved unstart competition. Or actually deployed. To prod plus refactor. And then actually to be complete, let's say, we should also deploy to Heroku, but I don't feel like it. Because currently my actual production environment is the one that's running at rotate ID. Okay, it's 12 o'clock. I need to be somewhere within like an hour, let's say. But it takes me like half an hour to get there, so actually no, that's incorrect. I still have half an hour to code, but then I still need to eat. Is there something that I can do within half an hour? So the logical next thing would be to competition controller. Logical next step would be, so after we did the unstart, to add a challenge to a competition. This might be a little bit more work. I'm not really sure. Yeah, because definitely more work. Because I also want to change this API. That these aren't just challenges to be added, but then also or could I do that? Maybe make it type challenges to be SOC. Yeah, I don't think I can fix this in half an hour. Maybe there's a smaller thing I can add in half an hour though. This thing also will take longer than half an hour. These are just estimates, right? Competitor to be removed. It is weird that it's not just an ID. Because I only use an ID. Might also take longer than an hour. I need to sneeze though, hang on. Oh, bless me. I'm sorry for sneezing so loudly. Excuse me again. All right. You know what? Let's try and record, because it's been on my to-do list for such a long time. Let's try and record what this thing is about. And then so that I can use it, put it in my what's it called, on my YouTubes somewhere. Let's do that. So I'll need a stream marker or something. Okay, hang on, I just gotta blow my nose. Alrighty. Can I do that based on... I can do it based on a demo, I think. But maybe I want to... Yeah, it doesn't matter. This should be fine. And then I want this to be set up as well. This is a lie. Need to update that. All right, cool. Check out the diagrams. All right, cool. All right, let's start this explanation, shall we? Let's add a stream marker and then start explaining this. All right, so hi and welcome to my YouTube channel. Let's maybe do that again. What do I want to say to my audience? Maybe something like, hi, welcome, or something like that, I don't know. Hi, thanks for showing interest in the Avid Challenge, or basically my Twitch channel. What is this thing about? Let me quickly give you an introduction on what I've been doing and where we are as of today, the 20th of October 2019. Right, so the Avid Challenge is a web app that I built in Kotlin and Vue. The main goal of this hobby project was to learn new stuff about Kotlin, Vue, and maybe some other testing frameworks. If you want to see how that went, maybe go back to the very first one and then check out why I chose to get rid of some of the other testing frameworks. The other goal was to prove to myself that I can incrementally architect from a monolithic architecture to an hexagonal architecture. Why is that? Because I have the tendency to over-design architectures. I always think, why don't we just build this entire new application immediately with CQRS and event sourcing maybe? And have like very split boundaries. Well, the idea is, if you want to learn fast if something works or not, you might want to go first to just a monolithic architecture and then have your customers play with that so that they can then provide you with great feedback on what you need to improve or how stuff should work according to them. And typically you get a lot of overhead with CQRS and event sourcing. So that's why I just wanted to prove to myself I can build an anemic domain model first and a monolithic architecture, and then move to a hexagonal when I feel like it. So that's what I've been trying to prove recently, and it's going pretty good. So what does the application do? It's a good question. This is the main FAT application. You can get an overview of all of the competitions there are. You can start a new one, give it a name, give it a start date. But another thing you could do is just host it again. So that's a cool new feature. Let me show you maybe how that should go. So if I want to do a host again, let's do Spiel 2020 or something. And then also get new dates. So that's going to be 2020 October, somewhere the end. So that's going to be here. And it ends on the 25th. So we want to choose all of the challenges that were entered, maybe except, I don't know, this one because it was boring or something. Then we'll do a submit. We get a new competition. You can add some people to it. So that's myself, Peter, Evelyn, etc., etc. Then once this is done basically, you can say, okay, I want my competition to start, or actually you can also add some challenges. Like this is a tryout challenge. I don't know. Give it some points. Tryout challenge. I don't know. There you go. And then supposedly you can just start this competition or see that it was added indeed. Then you can start the competition. Once it's started, you can say, oh no, that's not what I wanted to do because I couldn't add any competitors or challenges anymore. But once you say this is fine, you can start completing challenges and you'll get to see a scoreboard of all of the competitors there. So once you say, Tim completed this challenge here, I convinced a salesperson that I'm a famous Belgian artist and that they should give me a discount for the exposure I could give them. I submit it and then I get the points. That's basically it. There's no function to end a competition just yet, or remove one for that matter. So now it might be a little bit confusing for my buddies to see this Spiel 2020 here, but that's gonna be fine. That's about it, what we have for functionalities of the app basically. So you can see it's pretty simple. We've got some diagrams. I started using Simon Brown's C4 diagrams. You only have, there's no context diagram because it's super simple. There is a container diagram, however, that both serves or shows that there are two containers, but they're running in the same box. That's about it. So Peter can initially create a competition, can add me as a participant. What he'll do is he'll enter a competition name, basically the things that we just saw. The recovery email we skipped for now. Then I added a competitor, link was shared, and then we can just start completing challenges one by one. That's about it. The other cool thing you might want to take a look at is the captain's log that shows a history of my very first decisions. Here we go. Here is about the testing stuff. Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of stuff in here. Might be worthwhile looking at it myself again. But so here you can follow along why I made certain decisions. That's about it. I currently, by the way, I'm deploying to hosting on a Kubernetes cluster But also on Heroku, the way I'm deploying to Kubernetes is using this deployment somewhere. Here it is. So all of this is open source. You can just look at this stuff if you want. And then deploying to Heroku is in the Travis script. So I've got continuous integration set up here. If we want to see, there we go, 9 minutes ago, we deployed again. You can follow along in the log, and it doesn't really take a lot of, there's not difficult stuff in there. I think that's about it. Feel free to browse all of the videos in this playlist. Right, and I hope you have a nice time and found this a little bit worthwhile. If not, well then, that's okay as well. All right, see you maybe live on stream. Peace. All right, that's about it for today, I think. This will allow me to give me some time to eat and then be on my way. All right, thank you again for watching. As usual, let's find someone to host. And then I hope to see you not next weekend, because then I'll be at the Spiel conference in Germany. If you're going there, maybe we can meet each other there. Otherwise, I'll see you in the week after, probably. All right, been fun again, and then see you next time. Peace.